Hello and welcome along to this webinar on how to use BACS within Evolution. My name is Stuart Curitz. Thank you very much for joining me. When it comes to using BACS within Evolution, the first thing we need to do is let the system know how we wish the BACS files to be created, and this is done via the supervisor section of Evolution. Once logged in the supervisor, if we click on the system defaults, we get all the relevant tabs for the different areas of the system. If we click on the arrow to the right, we can see here we have the BACS defaults tab. And within here we have all the various options of how to create BACS files. If you are a single company user, my suggestion to you would be to select per source. This will enable you to create a separate BACS file for the purchase ledger and payroll. And if you are a multi-company user, I would suggest per source and company, and then within each company you can create separate files for the purchase ledger and payroll. Once this has been selected, click OK, and we can now come out. Once this has been done, we need to log into the main part of Evolution and put in all the relevant details for the suppliers and payroll members of staff that we wish to pay by BACS. For suppliers, this is done in the purchase ledger. Go into the supplier maintenance section, call up the supplier we wish to pay by BACS, click on the remittance button, and from the drop down option where the pay method is, we can select BACS. Once this has been selected, the system will then ask you to put in the relevant account details for the supplier. The account number going in the account number field, the sort code going in the sort code field, and the account holder's name in the PAYE field. The bank branch address can be filled out if you wish, but is not a requirement within the system as the money is distributed by account number and sort code. In the quote when paying field, this can have your company name. This would then print on the supplier's bank statement, making it easier for them to trace where the money has come from. However, if you are paying into a building society where there is one central account number and sort code per branch, the money is then distributed by what they call roll number, and the roll number has to come in the quote when paying. So only if paying a building society, otherwise your company name can be there. Click OK, store the details. The supplier is now set up and ready to be paid by BACS. Within the payroll, again this is done by the maintenance section. Within the personnel details, we call up the relevant employee who wishes to be paid by BACS. In the payment tab we can select BACS, and then in the bank tab we can enter the account details. Again, the account number going in the account number field, sort code in the sort code field, and the account holder's name in the PAYE field. And again, quote when paying can be your company name, or if paying into a building society, has to be the relevant roll number supplied to you by your member of staff. Okay, store the details, and then he is also ready to be paid by BACS. When actually doing the payment routine within Evolution, this will stay exactly the same, i.e. via the purchase ledger we can still do the run payments or the pay individuals from start to finish. And within payroll, we either enter time value recording if this is the option that you do. If not, we go straight into the calculate pay, print pay slips, checks and gyros, payroll summary. The actual routine stays exactly the same. Once we have finished the relevant payment run, we then need to come into the miscellaneous section and create the BACS, and for this we go into BACS create, and we can now see that I have the option to create either a payroll file or purchase ledger file depending on which run I have just done. If I wish to see what is awaiting to be created, I can click on the view unprocessed, and I can see here that I have a payment to Jusons waiting to be sent. If I'm happy to create this BACS file, I can simply put a bullet point in my purchase ledger, click OK, and I can see that one payment has been produced. From here, we now log into the bank software and go to the payments section as normal, but instead of keying in payments, there will be an option to import a file. If you click on the import section within the bank software, it takes you to the standard Windows browse screen where you can browse your network and pick up the appropriate file. The BACS file from Evolution will be created off of the data directory, and if you are unsure where that is, on the login screen, if you click on the About button, we can see from mine that I'm using data in C Evo data. Yours may be something like H accounts data. Okay, so when in the bank software and I click on the import, it takes me to the standard browse screen. For my system, I go to C Evo, and there is my data folder. I click on my data folder and I can now see I have a BACS folder. If I go into the BACS folder, I can see I have a separate folder for the purchase ledger and a separate folder for the payroll. If your system is set to per source and company, before we see the individual purchase ledger and payroll folders, we would actually see a folder labeled number 1 or number 2 or number 3 to correspond with the appropriate company number within Evolution, and within that folder you get your purchase ledger and payroll folders. So go into the purchase ledger folder and I can see there the BACS file that I wish to import into the bank software. Click on it, the bank software will import it, and then you can send the payment as normal. Once the payment has been sent down the bank, we come back into Evolution and back into the miscellaneous section, and we have to confirm that the BACS file has been sent. We click on BACS confirm. It will ask you if you wish to print the BACS list. This is entirely optional. The second question will be, do you wish to delete the BACS file? It is very important here that we choose yes, we do want to delete the BACS file. If we fail to delete the BACS file, the payment just sent will sit there, and the next time I do a payment run and create BACS, it is simply added to the existing file, thus creating duplicate payments. So delete BACS file, yes, and we can see that my payment has now been cleared. Okay, and that is it. It is very simple. Like we say, the actual payment runs either via the purchase ledger or via the payroll will stay exactly the same. Once you have finished the payment run, we come into the miscellaneous, we create the BACS file, log into the bank software, import the appropriate file, then come back into Evolution and confirm that it has been sent to clear it out. I hope this has been useful. I hope everybody's followed that. If anybody does have any questions, please do not hesitate to email me on the address shown on the screen. I thank you all for joining me and look forward to receiving any questions you may have. Thank you very much.